Hey everyone, all in Arrowhead here. The divisional round didn't just thin the field, it clarified the postseason hierarchy and officially launched us into the conference championships. The point in the playoffs where every team left has both the talent and the belief that they belong on the sport's biggest stage. New England continued to show a calm, methodical identity against Houston, winning the type of game that doesn't always grab headlines but consistently sends teams deeper into January, while Denver survived an emotionally and physically demanding showdown with Buffalo that tested their composure, depth, and ability to execute under playoff pressure. In the NFC, Seattle delivered one of the most authoritative performances of the entire postseason, imposing their style against San Francisco and reminding everyone how overwhelming they can be when momentum swings in their favor. Yoink! While the Rams leaned on experience and adaptability to outlast Chicago in a matchup that required patience, adjustments, and trust in situational football. What stood out across the board was how differently these teams advanced. Dominance versus resilience, control versus chaos, yet each found a way to rise when the stakes peaked, a trait that separates contenders from pretenders. Now as we arrive at Championship Sunday, the atmosphere changes entirely. There's no safety net, no next week for the teams that fall short, and every decision is magnified with a Super Bowl berth on the line. With only 4 teams remaining and 2 games determining who gets to play for the Lombardi Trophy, the pressure, urgency, and legacy-defining moments are all at their highest point of the season. Let's get into the games! New England reaches the AFC Championship after a 28-16 divisional round win over Houston that was defined by efficiency, red zone execution, and timely defensive playmaking, as Drake May finished 16 of 27 for 179 yards and 3 touchdown passes, consistently capitalizing on short fields and favorable matchups rather than piling up raw yardage, with the Patriots scoring touchdowns on 3 of their first 4 meaningful possessions. Demario Douglas was a key beneficiary of May's decisiveness, finding space on quick developing routes, while Ramondre Stevenson handled the dirty work on the ground and in pass protection to keep the offense on schedule. Defensively, New England controlled the flow by forcing turnovers and limiting explosive plays, highlighted by Marcus Jones's pick 6, which swung momentum and allowed the Patriots to dictate pace for the remainder of the game. Denver, meanwhile, survived a wild 33-30 overtime win over Buffalo, a game where execution under pressure outweighed yardage totals, as the Broncos forced multiple turnovers and converted them into points despite being outgained overall. Bo Nix threw for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns before exiting late with an ankle injury, with Marvin Mims Jr. leading the receiving corps with 93 yards and a score, while the defense came up with clutch takeaways, including a late interception by Jaquan McMillian that set up Will Lutz's overtime game-winning field goal. Buffalo moved the ball consistently, but Denver's situational defense and ability to win the turnover battle proved decisive, though the loss of Nix fundamentally changes the complexion of this matchup, with New England coming off a composed, mistake-free performance and Denver entering the title game without its starting quarterback after an emotionally draining overtime win. I'm going with the Patriots to punch their ticket to Super Bowl 60, as their efficiency, defensive opportunism, and ability to control game flow feel better suited for this stage. Los Angeles reaches the NFC Championship after a gritty 20-17 overtime divisional round win over the Bears, a physically demanding contest that saw both offenses struggle to find consistent big plays early, but Matthew Stafford paced the Rams with efficient decision-making, completing 20 of 42 passes for 258 yards, and Los Angeles leaned on a balanced attack that finished with 340 total yards, including 111 rushing yards to keep drives alive and control crucial moments, while the defense created just enough stops, forcing 2 interceptions and converting them into field position advantages that set up key scores. Harrison Mevis, who became a mid-season force for the Rams, delivered under pressure with clutch kicks in regulation and in the extra period, including the game-winning field goal in OT after Chicago settled for field goals earlier. And despite Chicago's strong start and stout effort from quarterback Caleb Williams and his playmakers, Los Angeles executed better in key late-game scenarios to advance. Seattle, on the other side, imposed its will in dominating fashion with a 41-6 divisional round win over the 49ers that was essentially decided before halftime, as Rashid Shaheed electrified the crowd with a 95-yard kickoff return touchdown on the first play of the game, and Kenneth Walker led the offense with 116 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, taking over when Zach Charbonnet exited with an injury and allowing the Seahawks to control time of possession and tempo from the start, while quarterback Sam Darnold managed the game efficiently, completing 12 of 17 passes for 124 yards and a touchdown against a San Francisco defense that was unable to slow Seattle's balanced attack. Seattle's defense was equally dominant, holding the 49ers to just 6 points and forcing multiple turnovers that kept the rout in place throughout, with the Rams coming off a physical, narrow win that required every facet of their game to grind, and the Seahawks arriving with overwhelming momentum and home field dominance. I'm picking the Seahawks to advance to Super Bowl 60, as Seattle's ability to control all 3 phases, explosive special teams, a powerful running game, and a suffocating defense gives them the edge in this matchup on their home turf.